Doug Roberts, Chief Investment Strategist with Channel Capital Research, joins us live from New Jersey. Doug, morning. Thank you for joining us. Doug, despite a resounding note to austerity, are you a bit surprised with the inherent strength in U.S. equities? Nasdaq last night was flat. Dow managed to recover from the day's low, and S&P is once again marching towards 1400.
Well, I mean, at this point, you have to remember that usually when there's a ton of liquidity in the market right now, and Chairman Bernanke, although he said he doesn't plan to really embark on QE3 in the immediate future, he's still not cutting back on any of the liquidity that he's put into the market. And there seems to be an assumption that at some point he will be forced to do more quantitative easing. Therefore, I guess with rates at low, there's a substantial amount of people just looking for performance. This kind of acts as a floor when there's these massive, downturns in the market. And although it may be no more than temporary, you tend to have these snapback rallies that we've seen recently when you've seen extreme sell-offs, and that pattern seems to be holding. So in that sense, it was due to, after so many days of so many losses, there was bound to be some type of rally back.
Doug, what's your view on the U.S. IT space? Given what Cognizant delivered overnight yesterday, we saw disappointment by way of revenues as well as profit. The Facebook IPO, the roadshow, has disappointed some investors, and a lot of questions are now being raised about, how successful this is likely to be.
Well, you also have to remember with IPOs in general, except for those studies have been shown that those IPOs, except for people who get in at the beginning, generally for the following year, they tend to underperform. So what we're seeing with Facebook may be that the reality is catching up with the so-called legend of the stock. But if you look at it, other basically companies have done well and they're backing off. I mean, Apple has had a huge run, although it's given some back. We've also seen that with other IP companies. And we've also seen that across the board as well, with major companies such as IBM, to also smaller internet companies that we've now seen there. I think the big thing that leads in the IP or technology space is the productivity enhancement. People seem to be looking for ways, especially with the uncertainty in the U.S. labor market, as to the taxation, whether people really want to, take on the additional overhead of hiring people, that if you can come up with an IT-based solution that increases your productivity, reduces your costs, there seems to be increased demand for that. And despite the volatility that we're currently seeing, I think that could continue, for a substantial portion into the future.
Right,
it's not just something temporary.
Right, so Doug, very quickly, what exactly are you advising your clients? Should they use the current decline to their advantage to buy, or you think that we are in for a tough summer and the good old maxim, which is sell in the month of May and go away, will work this time around as well?
I think there could be some volatility over the summer, and unless we get some type of a quantitative easing, we might be in a consolidation trading range. So it really depends upon the Federal Reserve and exogenous events. If the Fed moves to QE3 earlier rather than later, that could basically eliminate that maxim. But at the same time, if we get some type of an exogenous event, which is what they've been talking about, possibly something occurring in the Middle East, or, there's been talk or at least rumors of possibly one of the weaker southern nations exiting the Eurozone, or at least the euro as a currency, that could cause a substantial downturn. But more likely, aside from those two major events, would be some type of a back-and-forth consolidation range during the summer. And then,
right.
We really have to see what happens as we get closer to the election, whether there's going to be additional stimulus proposed.